Awesome. Yeah, good morning. I'm Allison, as Joel said. Thank you, and thank you, Catherine. Catherine agreed to sing a Taylor Swift song, which was my request, and I'm very happy that she did. So one of my roles among many as the Multifaith Coordinator is to plan this Numen Lumen series. So when Jan Fuller asked me to speak, I didn't really think I had a choice. So I agreed, but she's right. In choosing the theme, the meaning of the journey, personal stories of change, I'm pretty much the perfect candidate. After spending 4 years in the Dutch community of Holland, Michigan, I recently graduated in May from Hope College. Then I moved here to Elon, and I got my brand new Phoenix card, so I am now officially an Elon employee. Yay. And then I started cohabitating with this creature that doesn't make the bed, leaves his socks on the floor and cupcake frosting on the kitchen counter. And that's my husband, Daniel, and we got married in June, exactly 2 months ago today. Yay. So a lot of change, a change in name, a change in status as a college graduate, and also a change in location. But if I'm honest, another change from long before is much more distracting. Lingering and weaving into each family room, this change jerked the floorboards underneath me. It manifested in the textiles hanging in my dad's closet. It was dropped into the whiskey bottle my brother kept under his bed. My mom, I suspect, can see the change most when she puts lotion on her now bare hands. This change has pushed me to rethink the idea of a family and the role of a father in it. The change came on Christmas Day. Go figure. I was not prepared, and as most of us are not when change comes around, it's often invisible at first. Most of the details of the Christmas holiday are now missing, such as where we were sitting, the stubble on my brother's chin, or the look of my sister's face. The last time we were in a space together, my parents told us that they had filed for divorce. But this Christmas Day, my dad told us that he was dating a man named Eric, and that while he wouldn't share details, he had known for quite some time that he is gay and couldn't hide that part of him anymore. Now, an individual coming out in their later years is not uncommon. Exciting pride parades, LGBTQ resource centers, and openness to marriage equality was pretty much non-existent in my dad's college years. My dad's younger brother, my Uncle Rob, he came out in law school. So I kind of have this feeling that maybe my brother thought, can there really be 2 gay brothers in one family? Unsafe, confused, and eager to be a family man, my dad decided to get married and have kids and hide this part of his identity. At the same time, he lost his job about 4 times when we were living in Detroit during the recession. And so he sunk further and further into hiding the truth about himself. I can have some compassion for my dad and acknowledge the climate that was around him when he was growing up. But if I'm honest, the change has not been easy. A recent photo from my wedding this summer shows my dad seeing me in my dress for the first time. It features Dad in his new chic Banana Republic suit with a smooth floral shirt and a tie. And he's kind of doing this, like, you look good, which is never a response I would have ever expected from my dad before, especially because he usually wore khakis, a plaid shirt, a sweater vest, and one of those BlackBerry phone holsters on the side. His language has also changed. His new, much younger boyfriend, Eric, has taught him things like yes and get lit, which I didn't even say in college, so I don't know where that came from. But he's also asked him to go to the gym with him more often. And my dad's physique is now much more slim, and he's much healthier. He used to sport a beer belly, so I'm proud of him. He and Eric live together in San Diego, and they spend most of their time going to weddings on the beach or clubs downtown. Eric plays in a gay flag football league, and he's really good at it. And he also practices as a nurse. I also can tell that my dad's happier, and he likes his new world. But often my perception of my dad struggles to catch up with how fast his world is remixing. Often I find myself thinking, who is this stylish man? The next picture in my wedding album, next to my dad's first look, is one of me hugging my dad. The camera is kind of coming in from behind, and you can see that my dad's head is leaning on my shoulder. The look on his face with his glasses and his gray hair is in deep contemplation. His eyes droop a little bit, but on the corner of each side of his mouth, they're kind of perked up, and he's thinking deeply. His eyes, I can't explain his eyes to you. They're so blue. They're kind of like this shirt, and you could kind of sense he was crying a little bit, but that's the picture of a father. It's a picture of a father realizing how grown his daughter is and how much more she's going to go through. I didn't have, nor have I had the opportunity to find a new moment to tell my dad that I'm happy for him. And a lot of that is because we didn't really have a strong relationship. Dad is critical, he's argumentative, he's really frustrating a lot of the time. His change in self-discovery hit my family hard. My brother, who is officially 2 years sober, finally graduated from Georgetown 2 weeks ago with a degree 6 years in the making. And my mom, she has changed and will be forever altered as a woman, as a mother, and as a divorcee. My dad was always gay, but the change in accepting his identity later in life really damaged the idea of a family for me. I cannot begin to understand what would ever condone someone to cheat on someone, men or with women, and perhaps he will become a better father figure for me, or maybe we'll just be friends. Looking to the natural world often helps me when I have a sense of irregularity or difficulties in my life. If there's anything that I've learned about the processes of the planet Earth, it is all about the movement of the sand dunes on the coast of Lake Michigan. The liberal arts college that I attended also required me to take a STEM course, and I chose Intro to Geology. What was I thinking? So most of my semester was going to and from the beach to watch the sand dunes move back and forth along the lake shore. It reminded me of a part of Christian scripture. In Matthew, the teacher Jesus and his disciples are told Jesus tells his disciples not to build their house on sand. I understand his reasoning. Rain and floods and wind can cause a house to fall down if it were built on sand. Rather, one should build their house on rock so that it will have a sturdy foundation to rest upon. Solid advice, Jesus. Lately, however, I love the idea of standing in the sand rather than building something on top of it. Sinking into a foundation lets you be a part of it. Perhaps the image of a tree rooted in the soil helps a little bit. You want to feel the wind and the rain, but not crack underneath it. You want to bend with it. One of the species of grass that I learned in this class that grows in Lake Michigan is called mirum grass. The plant has adapted to survive in the sand, and it thrives in the sand rather than being killed by it. Planting oneself in the moment is another way of looking at change. I feel my personal grief over my old dad, the anger of a mother whose life has been turned upside down, and the pain of a son who doesn't know himself because of how he built himself to look like his father. At the same time, I've planted myself in a dune of hope. I am hoping that rather than being buried by the change, I will welcome its presence around me and let it move me in its direction. To do so, I have to allow myself to be moved by the change rather than try to hide from it. I particularly like how journalist Catherine Whitehorn puts it. The wind of change, wherever it blows, blows most freely through an open mind. Now, I know the change that Whitehorn is referring to is much bigger and a larger societal change, but I think that Whitehorn is right in the individual as well. Thank you.